Hello folks, Red Labor here. I hope you're having a great day. Guns, firearms, the Second Amendment, President Obama, the NRA, Tea Party movement, overly cautious liberals. I want to talk about it all. With regard to this whole national debate on gun control, what I have to say basically is this. To the right wing, and I know that many on the right wing will go and have a field day with this post, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And that is, President Obama is not sitting there enacting gun control legislation any more or any less than even President Ronald Reagan, who outlawed fully automatic weapons back during his presidency. His position on gun control, he's been less of a gun grabber than Bill Clinton or Ronald Reagan, for that matter. But the right wing wants to create this whole image about the Second Amendment and how the president's going to go after our Second Amendment rights. He's going to take our guns away and what have you. It's all about nothing. I can guarantee you, Mitt Romney would have been elected. His gun control reforms have probably been very similar. That's because there's not a credible dime's worth of difference between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. For the record, I'm opposed to gun control myself for constitutional reasons. Second Amendment is in the Constitution, and I do not believe with fucking with the Constitution, because you start to take away amendments you're not fully crazy about. It's a slippery slope, and other amendments that you care more passionately about than others may wither away too. So I am surprisingly on the side of those that do not want to see the Second Amendment gone. I don't own a firearm. I don't plan to own a firearm. However, I do believe it is individuals' right to own a firearm. And so, and while I do, or shall I say, while I'm sympathetic to being against gun control and see that argument, I think gun control works the way they have it in Great Britain and other European countries? Actually, I do. If I lived in Great Britain, I wouldn't even challenge their gun control laws, because I mean, it's just a settled issue. But here, I would be against enacting gun control legislation, because we have an entrenched gun culture, and I don't think the crime. I mean, crime is not what causes. Gun violence are not caused by criminals for the sake of criminals in a whole lot of ways. It's done by individuals who are crazy. It is done for people who are in poverty and they have no alternative. Poverty is what's linked to crime. And so to outlaw guns would not work in itself. Now, if you go and tackle on poverty, like for example, making it so that every man and woman has access to a living wage job, that would do more to reduce crime than whatever the NRA or whatever some redundant liberal with no imagination would have to come up with as a means of tackling crime. Having all this said, I do think there's much ado about nothing created by the right wing. They must persistently, it seems like, create a boogeyman with President Barack Obama, and they have created this boogeyman in a way that I have never seen them even irrationally attack President Clinton or any other president in history, especially if they're a Democrat in the White House. I'm not an apologist for the Democratic Party. I am not affiliated with the Democratic Party. But what I'm trying to say is that anything that even is remotely to the left of Rush Limbaugh, to them, they got a mindset: attack, anything that's even remotely to the left of Rush Limbaugh. And folks, I said it many times. I am so far to the left that I make President Obama look like Rush Limbaugh. And for the record, I didn't vote for Barack Obama in 2008 nor 2012. I made my point clear that we need an independent left-wing political voice outside the Democratic Party, something like a viable Labour Party like they've had for many years in Great Britain and in Australia, New Zealand, so forth, so on. I do think that that universal background checks should be considered non-controversial. I don't want a nut or a convicted felon to have a firearm. I think that maybe perhaps education class if you're going to own a firearm, because I don't want somebody to be totally inexperienced to the point where somebody, a family member or a friend or somebody will accidentally get shot. I don't think that's too much to ask. Do I think that people in body armor ought to start breaking down into people's homes and ransacking their place, finding guns? Absolutely not. I mean, believe me, if that was actually happening, I could see why some militia people will be upset about that. But I don't believe that's happening. There's no evidence or anything that could even remotely indicate this. But what I do think is that while the NRA are technically correct on the Second Amendment, my problem with the National Rifles Association is that they're a right-wing organization that support other right-wing causes. Yeah, there are individuals who are in the NRA for its explicit purpose to represent gun owners, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And there are surprisingly some individual liberals who would be a member of the NRA. In fact, I know a few personally myself. But the problem I have with the NRA is that they're just another blowhard from the right-wing movement in this country, trying to attack all things they consider liberal. And to them, President Obama represents the others, just as the Tea Party views President Obama, and Fox News, and Rush Limbaugh, and the Christian right. They all look at this president as the other. To them, he's a Kenyan, a secret Muslim, a secret communist, trying to destroy this country. Well, communists, really? Honestly? The man governs to the right of Richard Nixon. Yes, President Obama governs to the right of Richard Nixon. He doesn't sound much like a communist to me. Is he from Kenya? Really? You believe that he was secretly born in Kenya? Tell me, folks. Tell me, you birthers out there. Do you really believe for a second that a white Jewish woman would be in Kenya giving birth in 1960 with the purpose of destroying Western civilization? No. The man was born in Hawaii. I do not know why you birthers are so insistent on that. Is he a secret Muslim? Fuck no, he's a secret Muslim. He is not a secret Muslim at all. And the best way to prove that he's not a secret Muslim is the fact that he's pro-choice on abortion and pro-gay rights. Tell me, folks, how many fucking Muslims are pro-choice on abortion and pro-gay marriage? You're hardly going to find anybody like that in the Islamic movement. You'll find secularists who are that way. You'll find many Jews who are pro-choice, pro-gay marriage, secularists, as I said. You'll find, mainline Protestants and middle-of-the-road Roman Catholics who are pro-choice and pro-gay marriage. But you're going to be hard set to find a Muslim that's going to be in favor of these things. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, the Tea Party has more in common with the Muslims that they vilify than they do mainstream America. There's nothing mainstream about the Tea Party movement and the NRA and all these groups. And I really do believe that they're trying, actually I believe this with all my heart, that the right wing are trying to provoke President Obama and provoke congressional Democrats into enacting gun control legislation to either have a wedge issue for probably most of them, because most of them are going to still be partisan hacks, and for some of them probably more insidious things, the darker side of right-wing politics, Turner Diaries. You know, we know what happened with the Turner Diaries, and if anybody ever read the Turner Diaries, we know how the dark side of the right wing would love to use an issue like somebody that they think is everything that's an antithesis on everything that represents Americanism, and use Barack Obama as a propaganda piece to funnel to just kind of fuel a right-wing movement to cause violent revolution and havoc. I probably the majority aren't like that, but there's plenty that are. So anyway, folks, that's what I want to talk about. Much ado about nothing. The right wing are trying to either incite violence or to just create a lot of partisan fuel for the next election in 2014 and the presidential election in 2016. Gun control. As far as I'm concerned, President Obama's not trying to enact gun control legislation or the kind of radical gun control legislation imagined by the far right. I'm been kind of long-winded today, folks, because I'm just that kind of guy, very long-winded at times, with brilliant analysis on life and politics and culture, but I do admit I'm kind of long-winded. Anyway, folks, you take care, and y'all have a great weekend. And comment, good, bad, indifferent. Just start talking to me. Bye.